I hope everyone is having a good Sunday so far. Okay, we'll start in 2 more minutes.
Vai am sabes a tipos.
Okay, so while I give everybody 1 more minute, I will introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I am Shireen Gilveyard. I am a nurse educator by profession, and I am also the founder of Destyne Fit and Be Empowered, helping people create a healthier version of themselves. And every Sunday at 6 p.m., usually do a health feature. So feel free to join me next Sunday also and invite your family and friends. So today we will be discussing obesity and heart health, right? So the aim for this evening's, just give me 1 second, guys. Let me just put some persons into the waiting room. So we know that cardiovascular disease is something that affects most, if not 50% of the population. And this is something that we need to discuss. Hence the reason for cardiovascular health this afternoon, and taking into consideration that World Diabetes Day is on the 14th, we will be starting off with cardiovascular health, right? So the aim for this afternoon is to be knowledgeable of the role of diet and lifestyle and its link to heart disease. Our objectives: to be able to understand how the heart works, to be able to define myocardial infarction, which is a term for a heart attack, to be able to discuss the link between obesity and heart disease, to be able to state the signs and risk factors of heart disease, to be able to list the steps to reduce the risk of heart disease. Okay, so the cardiovascular system, and I will just go through basically how your heart works in this slide, for people who already know. If you are nurses, this is just a little refresher. So the cardiovascular system, your heart is divided into two separate pumping systems, the right side and the left side. So you will follow on the photo as I speak. So the right side of your heart receives oxygen, poor blood from your veins. So it pumps this blood into your lungs where it picks up oxygen and it gets rid of carbon dioxide. Because remember, we breathe in oxygen and we let out carbon dioxide, right? The left side of your heart receives oxygen-rich blood from your lungs and pumps it through your arteries to the rest of your body. So we have oxygen-poor blood, we have oxygen-rich blood. Your right side is responsible for oxygen-poor blood and your left side is responsible for oxygen-rich blood. So on your right atrium receives oxygen-poor blood from the body and it pumps it to the right ventricle through the tricuspid valve. So you would see that labeled on your photo. The right ventricle pumps the oxygen, poor blood to the lungs through the pulmonary valve. The left atrium receives the oxygen-rich blood from the lungs and it pumps it to your left ventricle through the mitral valve. The left ventricle pumps the oxygen-rich blood through the aortic valve out to the rest of your body. And this is actually how our heart works. Now, you would be familiar with the blood pressures, right? So, and I think this is something I probably need to insert here. So as we go on, we will be familiar. So our blood pressure levels, according to the American Heart Association, a normal blood pressure level is anywhere, the systolic, which is your top number, your diastolic is your bottom number, and your systolic number is actually when your heart contracts, and your diastolic number, which is the lower number to the bottom, is the number when your heart relaxes, right? And the difference between your systolic and your diastolic is your pulse. So if you do your numbers, you would realize that's your pulse level, right? So according to the American Heart Association, your normal ranges systolic, which is your top number, from 90 to 120. And your diastolic, which is the bottom number, it ranges from 60 to 80, right? So that's your range for your normal blood pressure level. So anything above that is considered hypertensive. Anything below that is considered hypotensive, right? So our heart pumps 5 quarts of blood per minute, 5 quarts per minute, 100,000 beats per day, and 35 million beats per year. The heart beats about 2.5 billion times over the average lifetime, pushing millions of gallons of blood to every part of our bodies. So this steady flow, it carries oxygen, it carries fuel, hormones, and other compounds, and a host of essential cells. It also whisks away the waste products from metabolism. When the heart stops, essentially, basically everything stops instantly, right? So our heart controls everything. Given this never-ending workload of our heart, it is a wonder it performs so well for so long and for so many people, right? But it can also fail. It can fail due to poor diet, due to lack of exercise, due to smoking, infection, sometimes unlucky genes, and other risk factors. So the key problem we see a lot of persons are affected by is clogged arteries, right? Now, you would see in the photo, there are accumulation of pockets with cholesterol rich gunk inside of the arteries, right? So these pockets are called plaque, and these can limit the blood flow through the arteries, which nourishes your heart, which is your coronary artery, right? Also, other arteries throughout the body can also be affected by plaque, but when plaque breaks apart, it can cause a heart attack or a stroke. So once the plaque, they break up, that's it. That can cause you a heart attack or stroke. So a heart attack, which is also called myocardial infarction, it occurs when the flow of blood to the heart is blocked. The blockage is most often a buildup of fat, cholesterol, and other substances which form this plaque in the arteries that feed the heart. So the plaque eventually breaks away, as we said, and they form clots. And this clot interrupts the blood flow, and it can damage or even destroy part of our heart muscle. So some common, move on to your next slide. Some common signs of a heart attack includes pressure or tightness or pain, or some people consider it a squeezing or aching sensation in your chest or arms, and this may radiate to your neck, to your jaw, or the back of your neck, right? So also nausea, indigestion, heartburn or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, cold sweat, fatigue, lightheadedness, or sudden dizziness. So these are some of the signs that we need to watch out for. So what are some of the risk factors for a heart attack? Age. Men age 45 or older and women age 55 or older are more likely to have a heart attack than younger men and women. Smoking. This includes long-term exposure to secondhand smoke also. High blood pressure. Over time, high blood pressure can damage the arteries. And remember, the arteries is what feeds your heart, right? High blood pressure occurs when other conditions such as obesity, high cholesterol, or diabetes increases your risk even more. High blood cholesterol or your triglyceride levels. So a high level of LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol, is most likely to narrow your arteries. However, a high level of HDL, which is the good cholesterol, lowers your risk of heart attack. And we can use olive oil, whole grains such as oatmeal, brown rice, kidney beans, lentils, black beans, black eyed peas, high fiber foods such as apples, pears, prunes, flaxseed, and also fatty fish, which are considered tuna, mackerel, sardine, salmon, omega-3s basically. So these can help build your good cholesterol, and we want more good cholesterol levels, right? Obesity. So obesity is associated with high blood cholesterol levels. It is also associated with high blood pressure and diabetes. Losing just 10% of your body weight can actually lower your risk for heart disease. Diabetes. Diabetes, when you're not producing enough of the hormone which is secreted by your pancreas, which is called insulin, or either your body is not responding to the insulin properly, which causes your blood sugar levels to rise. This also increases your risk of a heart attack. Metabolic syndrome. This occurs when you have obesity. You have high blood pressure, you have high blood sugar levels, So having metabolic syndrome makes you twice as likely to develop heart disease than if you don't have it. Lack of physical activity. Being inactive contributes to high blood cholesterol levels and also contributes to obesity. So people who exercise regularly have better cardiovascular fitness, including lowering your blood pressure levels. Stress. You might respond to stress in ways that can increase your risk of a heart attack. Illicit drug use, using stimulant drugs such as cocaine can trigger spasms to your coronary arteries, which can cause a heart attack. A history of preeclampsia, and this condition is caused by a high blood pressure during pregnancy, and it increases the lifetime risk of heart diseases, right? So a lot of women, unfortunately, they get preeclampsia during their pregnancy. Autoimmune conditions also. Having conditions such as rheumatoid arthritis or lupus can actually increase your risk of heart attack. Yes? So these are some of the risk factors. So obesity and heart disease. 3 ways that obesity contributes to heart disease and also what we can do to control it. It can change, number one, it can change your cholesterol levels. So most of us know that obesity can cause a spike in your cholesterol levels, and your bad cholesterol levels, that is. But do we know that it can also lower our good cholesterol levels? So HDL cholesterol is important for removing bad cholesterol. So your good cholesterol is important for removing your bad cholesterol. And it also works to reduce the risk of a heart disease. However, when you are obese, unfortunately, this can happen. So your good cholesterol can have a pause, or it reduces the likelihood that the good cholesterol will remove your bad cholesterol. It also causes your blood pressure to rise. Obesity causes your blood pressure to rise. So obese individuals requires more blood, and they also require more nutrients to their body. So this causes an increase in their blood pressure. Your body will also require more pressure to move the blood around. So high blood pressure is a common cause of heart attack, and which is sadly more common for obese individuals. Obesity can lead to diabetes. It can also lead to high cholesterol levels, so as we said, blood pressure and heart attacks, right? Obese individuals have a much greater chance of developing diabetes, and according to the American Heart Association, at least 68% of people aged 65 or older with diabetes also have a heart disease. While individuals with diabetes are said to be in 2 or 4 times more likely to be at a risk for heart disease, the American Heart Association also lists diabetes as being one of the top 7 major controllable factors to prevent heart disease. So if you have diabetes but have yet to be diagnosed with heart disease, actually now is your time to act upon it. So you should get checked to see if you have a heart condition, because diabetes is linked to heart disease. But saying that, remember, we can control diabetes, all right? And remember, the American Heart Association said that this is one of the top 7 controllable factors to prevent heart disease. So if you're diabetic, please don't take it lightly. Please control your levels, your blood sugar levels. Okay, so moving on, how do we reduce our risk for heart disease? Prevention. Prevention is always better than cure, right? We can maintain a healthy weight with a heart healthy diet. A healthy lifestyle, especially when started at a young age, goes a long way to prevent cardiovascular disease. No smoking. Well, smoking tobacco is a major cause of high blood pressure, of heart disease, of heart attack, and stroke. But did you know that smoking marijuana may also be associated with these same problems? A Harvard research review published in actually January 28th of 2020 in the Journal of American College of Cardiology found that more than 2 million US adults with cardiovascular disease are smoking marijuana, despite the risk. So although they may not be aware of the potential link to heart problems, younger adults who smoke marijuana appear to face a higher risk of stroke compared with those who don't use the drug. So according to the report published in other report which was published in November 2019 in the Journal for Stroke, researchers pulled data from from nationally representative survey from which actually included 44,000 participants ages 18 to 44. About 14% reported using marijuana within the past month. Young adults who recently used marijuana were 1.8 times more likely to experience a stroke compared to non-users. The risk was 2.5 times higher among frequent users, which actually smoked for more than 10 days a month. So frequent marijuana users who also smoke regular cigarettes had 3 times the risk than non-users. Marijuana smoke contains many of the same toxins, the irritants, and the carcinogens found in cigarette smoke, which is a known contributor to cardiovascular disease. So we are moving on to exercise. Exercise regularly. If you dedicate at least 30 minutes a day to structured exercise, such as brisk walking, or it could even be swimming, it's still important to get up and move for at least a few minutes, right? Many times throughout the day, a lot of us, if we sit, our jobs is sitting at a desk, let's get up and walk, right? A cardiologist who is a Harvard affiliated researcher, he stated that the more you sit, the more your large muscles are not using glucose. And glucose is our body's main energy source. Uninterrupted sitting can cause blood sugar levels to rise. It triggers the release of insulin, and insulin is the hormone that regulates our blood sugar. So over time, by not exercising, our body becomes less sensitive to insulin. And this results in insulin resistance, and it promotes inflammation. And this inflammation is a key player in the building up of fatty plaque inside our arteries. So we see the importance of exercise, people. We need to set aside some time to exercise. Nobody can do that for you. Managing stress. The evidence that stress management strategies can protect your heart is very limited, but it's growing. But there's no doubt that stress contributes to heart problems. A Harvard medical associate professor stated that the link between stress and cardiovascular disease is a well-established link. So we can also control conditions that can lead to heart attacks, such as our blood pressure levels, we can control high cholesterol levels, and we can control diabetes. So lifestyle changes and medications can help nip heart harming trends like your high blood pressure levels, your high cholesterol levels, before they can actually cause damage. Give me 1 second, guys, just 1 second. Okay, so let me see. Moving on. Right. So fortunately, there are some steps that you can take to lose weight, to get healthy, and to reduce your risk of developing heart disease. So the number one thing any obese individual, especially those with a family history of cardiovascular disease, should do to get healthy is to exercise regularly and eat a nutritious, balanced diet. We can control our portion size. So, how much you eat is just as important as what you eat. Overloading your plate, taking seconds, and eating until you feel stuffed can lead to eating more calories than you should. Portions served in restaurants are often more than anyone needs. So sometimes when we go to the restaurant, we want to eat all the food that is put on our plate. That food can actually, be separated to have some to go and to eat some now, right? What we can do is use a smaller plate or bowl to help control our portion sizes. Eat larger portions of low-calorie nutrient foods such as fruits and vegetables, and smaller portions of high-calorie, high-sodium foods such as refined or processed foods or even fast foods. So this strategy can shape up your diet as well as your heart and your waistline. Keep track of the number of servings you eat. The recommended number of servings per food group may vary depending on your specific diet or the guidelines you're following. So a serving size is a specific amount of food, right? And we can use our measuring cup. So for example, one serving of pasta should be, and this is cooked pasta, should be about 1/3 to half a cup per serving. A serving of meat, fish, or chicken should be about 2 to 3 ounces. So if you don't have a food scale and you are looking at what you eat closely, it's probably a good time now to get a food scale. So if you don't have, but we still want to know the recommended amount, we can also average using the size and the thickness of a deck of cards. So that's about 2 to 3 ounces, right? So judging serving size is a learned skill. So this is something that we have to practice. But if you have your measuring cups and you have your food scale, start weighing your food and measuring out your food to get your portion sizes right. Vegetables and fruits are good source of vitamins and minerals. So vegetables and fruits are low in calories, but they are rich in fiber. Like other plant or plant-based foods, they contain substances that actually help prevent cardiovascular disease. So eating more fruits and vegetables may help you cut back on the higher calorie foods such as meat, cheese, and snack foods. Whole grains are good sources of fiber, and they also have other nutrients that play a role in regulating your blood pressure, and it's excellent for heart health. You can increase the amount of whole grains in a heart healthy diet by making simple substitutions for refined grain products, so you can Replace your white rice with brown rice, or you can use quinoa or oatmeal or whole grain pasta. Lean meat, low-fat dairy products, and eggs are some of your best sources of protein. But be careful to choose lower fat options, such as skim milk rather than whole milk, skinless chicken breasts rather than fried chicken parts, right? Fish is another good alternative to high-fat meats. And certain types of fish are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which can lower our cholesterol levels. So you'll find the highest amounts of omega-3 fatty acids in cold water fish such as salmon, mackerel, and herring. Other sources are flaxseed, walnut, soya beans, and also canola oil. Legumes. Beans, peas, and lentils are also good sources of protein, and they contain less fat and no cholesterol, making them good substitutes for meat. So substituting plant protein for animal protein, for example, a soybean burger for a hamburger, this will actually reduce your fat and your cholesterol intake, and it will increase your fiber intake. So if probably, if you're accustomed eating meat daily, it's probably a good time now to try to alternate your days with meat and try incorporating a lot of plant-based diet. So the use of L-arginine. Now we'll speak about L-arginine in I think 2 more slides to go. I will leave that for then, right? We focusing on exercise a bit now. Research has shown that doing easy leg stretches may improve blood flow through the body by making the arteries more flexible and able to dilate. And this was a recent study as of July 1st, 2020. So stretching, you want to do lots of stretches. You want to do yoga or Pilates. These are some of the exercises that are excellent for cardiovascular disease, for cardiovascular health, sorry. The study included the 39 young adults, 27 of whom did passive leg stretches 5 times a week for 12 weeks, while the, let me just admit, all right. While the other 12 did no stretching at all. So passive stretching involves holding a stretch for a set period of time, added by the outside force or like your body weight or gravity. So volunteers held the thigh, so they held their thigh and they did some calf stretching for 45 seconds, followed by a 15-second rest. They repeated each set a total of 5 times. So all they did, they held their thigh and calf, they stretched it over 45 seconds, followed by 15-second rest, and they did that 5 times. Researchers measured the blood flow in the participants' lower legs and the upper arms at the beginning and at the end of the study. The arteries of people who stretched were more dilated and had increased blood flow in both areas they found. So it shows that the exercising, the stretches helps your arteries to dilate so you have more blood flow, right? Now, people who are older, this passive stretching could be a new non-drug treatment for improving blood vessel health. And this is according to the study, the authors of the study. So we see how important stretching can be to our health. Okay, so for us to understand the L-arginine as a preventative method used for cardiovascular diseases, we need to understand nitric oxide. So nitric oxide is found throughout our bodies, and it is formed in the lining of our endothelial cells. It is formed using the amino acid L-arginine. Nitric oxide helps communicate with each other by transmitting signals throughout our entire body, right? So how nitric oxide work? Nitric oxide basically relaxes our muscles, it curbs inflammation, and it increases circulation. So the more nitric oxide you have pumping in your body, is the lower your blood pressure levels would be, and it will also control your insulin levels, right? Interestingly, as we age, our nitric oxide levels decreases. So when plaque builds up in your arteries, this actually reduces your capacity to produce nitric oxide. So in our 20s, we have 100% of nitric oxide in our bodies. In our 30s, 80% due to thickening arteries. In our 40s, 50% because we have a buildup of plaque now. In our 50s, calcium buildup. And in our 60s, unfortunately, if we don't have sufficient nitric oxide, we will get a heart attack. So we really, really need to ensure we have sufficient nitric oxide in our body, right? Okay, so how can we increase our nitric oxide levels? And this is where L-arginine comes in. We need to increase our L-arginine intake, because if we have decreased levels of L-arginine, we're going to have decreased levels of nitric oxide. So Pro-arginine Plus has been proven to rapidly and significantly increase nitric oxide levels in our body. And we know that nitric oxide supports healthy circulation and cardiovascular function by increasing the nitric oxide levels in our body. So what this L-arginine actually does, it has 5,000 milligrams in the Pro-arginine Plus, and on its own, the L-arginine, it can produce the nitric oxide, but for a short period of time. Within 4 to 6 hours, our body would go back to its baseline levels of nitric oxide. So in the Pro-arginine complex, what they did, they added another amino acid called L-citrulline. And what this L-citrulline helps do, it works to keep the production of the nitric oxide up. So you would have a high level of nitric oxide in your body all day long. All right, so you have the two amino acids, the L-arginine and L-citrulline in your body to help produce nitric oxide. L-arginine aids in maintaining healthy blood pressure levels. It helps regulate your insulin secretion, and it improves your immune functioning, along with 18 other benefits. So L-arginine really, really helps your nitric oxide, that is, right? So I have some testimonials, two testimonials for speaking to diet. One is speaking to diet, and one is speaking to the Pro-arginine. Just now, let me play it for you to hear. It's raining on my end, so I am hoping you will hear clearly.
I have been taking Paraji for the past 2 to 3 years. Paraji has well controlled my pressure from 140. I'm already at 120, 130 for the most, over 60, 65. And when I went to the doctor sometime last year, he couldn't believe, but he still asked me to keep some of the tablets on standby. But so far, I haven't really used those tablets. But I have some on standby in case I run out of the Puraji. I try not to run out of Puraji, but I can safely say that the Puraji is working well, and I can recommend it for anybody for the high blood pressure.
So that's the blood pressure. And remember, this is for
Hello
the
everyone. I would
obesity.
like to share my journey thus far using Herbalife products. I am diabetic and initially had my concerns about the product. However, I spoke to my doctor about it and he said it was a great idea to use the products to help me with my diet. I first started with a trial pack and I lost 7 pounds and 3 inches around my waist. I also followed the Destyne Fit Meal Plan, using the products as a meal replacement for breakfast and also for dinner. I observed that my blood sugar is now 100 mgdl. I usually check my blood sugar every morning. The results is amazing and I look forward for continuous results and Herbalife is now part of my lifestyle. Thank you very much to Coach Shireen for the encouragement and support. I hope my journey would encourage someone to start making healthy changes in their life too. Thank you.
So basically, the proarginine, it works for your blood pressure levels. It works for your insulin levels, decreasing it. It even worked for penile health, inflammation, so cholesterol levels, etc. And I think main thing that I should probably indicate here is, and by the way, the those are my parents. The client testimonial is my parents. I decided to use them because I think they were you know, they have been using it. My dad have been using it over 2 years now. So basically, I'll tell you what I did when he started, right? When I heard about his supplement, I did research, of course, and I realized, this is something that probably can help him. So when he started it, I monitored his blood pressure levels for approximately 1 week. All right. We did blood pressure readings every morning and every night and we recorded it. Then I introduced the proarginine every other day. So I would record it, see his blood pressure levels when he's taking the tablet. So every other day he would take the tablet and he would use the proarginine. So on the days that he took the tablet and he took the proarginine, I realized this is 1 day taking proarginine only, 1 day taking tablets only. I realized the blood pressure levels were actually maintaining the same reading. They were doing the same readings with the proarginine and the blood pressure medication. So he did that for full 1 week. On the second week, I gradually, every 2 days, he would take the proarginine for 2 days. So I weaned him out of the tablets, right? I weaned him out of the tablets, and by his third week, his actually no, for his fourth week, he was out of tablets. He wasn't on any tablets. The blood pressure levels were maintaining with proarginine plus only. So from since then, he has been using the proarginine supplement. He also has increased energy because it gives you energy, right? So that's how my dad actually used the proarginine plus, and it helped him a lot. My mom, she is diabetic and she's also on the proarginine, but I had her with the diet. I did something differently with her with the diet, which using the Herbalife nutrition, because she needs to lose some weight, right? In now she is 157, I think. She lost approximately 10 pounds now. So I incorporated the diet with her proarginine because she was on medication also. So she's not on any medication anymore and she's just using the diet and she's using the proarginine plus, and these were the results. So I can safely say that, I am satisfied with their results. And the plan that she was speaking of, which she's using, is a 21-day fitness plan, right? So basically, she told you she was replacing her breakfast and her dinner with a shake. And this is a healthy meal replacement shake. It is not a smoothie, it's not a protein shake. It basically is a healthy meal in a shake form. She has it for breakfast and she has it for dinner. She has a healthy lunch. So I gave us a meal plan. And in the 21-day fitness challenge, you receive a meal plan. So she received a meal plan. That's what she's following through with. And options for healthy snacks and various options for lunch, right? So she has been following through with the meal plan, and she's also having the tea. What the tea actually does, it increases your metabolism, and gives you also increased energy. And interestingly enough, when she started, because she told me she started on the trial pack, which is the 6 days, a 6-day trial. After the trial pack, she remained with some tea. And she used that tea and aloe, the tea and aloe that is. And just by the tea and aloe boosting her metabolism, and it also helps with her detox, she started losing weight with tea and aloe only because her metabolism was slow. So the weight, it sped up the weight loss process when she started the full plan by replacing her breakfast and dinner. But sometimes, our body just need that extra push. And I think in most cases, and she's satisfied now in terms of maintaining her blood sugar levels, and the doctor is satisfied with how she's going. So this plan can actually work for people with cardiovascular diseases. You just need to indicate to me that yes, I am hypertensive or I'm diabetic, and we can help you along. So feel free to reach out to me if you need assistance in that regard. I think this is what is the last slide. Yes. So remember, obesity is linked to cardiovascular health, guys. This is your time. If you have any questions, you can unmute your mic and let me know if you have any questions. Anybody have any questions? I think in the chat, there's a form that we just put in there. So if you would like to join the 21-day challenge, you can fill out that form also. So don't feel shy. You can unmute your mic and talk to me. If you don't have any questions, and you have a comment, feel free.
Night, Shireen, and everyone.
Hi, Keisha.
So, unfortunately, I came in late. So I don't know if you touched on the size, of the waistline for women as compared to men.
No, I know. I didn't touch on that. No.
Oh, okay. Because I wanted to find out, what is an acceptable waist size, because we know the size of the waist is comparative to, research has shown that your waist size really has something to do with heart disease and right? Yeah. So I don't know if anything could be shared.
Okay, I cannot give you the exact waistline. But you are right. Research has shown that your abdomen, it tells a lot in your risk for cardiovascular disease, right? Because that is your visceral fat. That's where you have the fat surrounding your organs, and that's the unhealthy fat it is, right? So I will have to get, probably I'll get that information and let you guys know in the next session. But I did not go into details with finding out the exact waistline. But thank you for bringing that up, Keisha. I will I will do some research on that.
Thank you, because I really need to know my weight.
Don't worry, I will do the research, and next week before we start, I will insert it, or I can insert it in next week presentation because I'll be talking about diabetes. So I will.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any comments?
I have a question.
Hi, Owen.
I had to laugh. I wasn't going to ask anything, but when somebody feels tension in their neck, is it that, or their neck or their shoulder?
Yeah.
Is it that stress is coming on? Should they check a doctor when that happen, or is there something that they should take to reduce that tension from their neck, their shoulder, that part of their body?
Okay, so normally a lot of people who are hypertensive, when the blood pressure is elevated, they get that pain. So I will advise you, if you have that pain, the first thing to probably do is check your blood pressure. If you have a blood pressure apparatus, you should probably check your blood pressure, because a lot of times it means that your blood pressure is elevated, right? If you realize that it's something that, and stress can cause it also, right? So if you realize it's something that is, you get it very often, I think you should probably go in and talk with your doctor. I know for me, right, I get these pains, but only when I'm under stress. And I am not hypertensive. And I did go and check it out once, only to realize I have arthritis in my shoulder. So you can go and check it out once you see it's something that persistent, and you realize it's not, it have nothing to do with your blood pressure. But try getting a blood pressure apparatus and testing your blood pressure once you feel that pain behind your neck.
Another question: if somebody has diabetes and kidney and the whole works that go along um, with diabetes, obesity, everything like that, how will they know that they could have a heart attack, or how could they know that they are getting a heart attack? Now, I will give you a little thing. Um, Before Dave died, my husband died. That morning, I know he has diabetes and kidney and everything that goes along with it. But that morning, he told me that he couldn't breathe, so he was going to buy a nebulizer machine. And Aniel went out with him, but before he left home, he leaned up on the wall and he hold his side and he say, "Oh gosh, he getting a pain." And then he let it go and he said it feel like a cramp. When you're getting a heart attack, this one of the sign? Because after he died, heart attack was with it, and we never knew that he suffered with his heart.
Yes. So I think you came in late. So I'm putting over the slides. So, and I will go it over. So some of the signs that you actually get for when you are getting a heart attack, the same thing he said: pressure, tightness, or pain, or squeezing sensation in your chest or arms. And this may radiate to your neck or your jaw, right? Or even your back. nausea, indigestion, heartburn or abdominal pains, shortness of breath, remember he said that, cold, sweating, fatigue, lightheadedness, or sudden dizziness. So these are some of the signs to look out for before a heart attack. So all these things that you said, he complained about, it was signs of a heart attack. Hence the reason it's very, very important for us to know the signs of a heart attack. So unfortunately, yes, he was getting signs before. But a lot of the because you said he had kidney diabetes, high blood pressure, etc. So basically he had metabolic syndrome, right? That's all those different diseases. So metabolic syndrome is highly linked to cardiovascular disease a lot of the times. Unfortunately, he wasn't aware, but it's very, very important for us to check. Once we see we have all of these diseases, we need to check our cardiovascular health because there is a big, big link. Once you have high blood pressure, diabetes, you just go and check up on your cardiovascular health. It's unfortunate for him, but that's at least you know the signs and symptoms now.
How, when you have this kind of problem, how often should a person eat? Should they always have something sweet on them? Or how often should they eat?
You mean
When they have diabetes and hypertension and the works that go on with it?
okay? So first of all, no overeating, right? They should have healthy snacks in between. And this is the same thing that I recommend for all of us because we should train our bodies to have healthy snacks. So especially if you are diabetic and you're going out, you should walk with something at least to hold you because you don't want your blood sugar levels to be dropping, right? And then when it drop and you take something sweet, it's really elevated. So you want to have healthy snacks carrying. And I would probably say if it's every 3 hours to have a healthy snack, then that's fine. But you don't want to overdo it, right? In terms of if you're having a snack, it's a snack. It's not a meal. It can be half of a banana because if you're diabetic, you don't want to even have a whole banana if the banana is big. So if it's a half a banana or a small apple or you have a salad, but you have to have some healthy snacks added in there. So try to at least have a snack about every 3 hours, but a snack, not a meal.
I have one more question and then I will stop. Usually these problem run in family. Do you think it is often enough or it skip generation gap? That if that your children could get it, or maybe it could skip your children and go on to your grandchildren also?
Well, it is genetic, yeah. It is genetic. I think the thing is, once it's in your genes, the thing is diabetes and blood pressure is something that we can prevent. So even though it's in your genes, your lifestyle can prevent it. So for me, let me give you an example. My parents, father hypertensive, mother diabetic, right? I know I am susceptible to it. However, I change my lifestyle just to prevent getting hypertension and diabetes. So you can prevent it. Ever so often, when I go, especially when you go to change glasses, they would ask you if you have your parents are diabetic, if they have anybody have glaucoma, my father has that. So, you know, I would always check up. I will check up on myself because there is a link for me, right? So it's very, very important if your parents had it that you check up yourself and you take lifestyle preventative measures, because lifestyle can actually help you decrease your risk for these diseases, because it's preventable. You can prevent it. It doesn't mean that because your parents had it that you would get it, even though it's genetic, right? Because it's a lifestyle thing. So you have to take charge of it at a young age. You cannot wait till it's too late. And a lot of times, unfortunately, we as human beings, we wait till something happens to act instead of acting before it happens, right? So in regard to your kid, your grandchildren, I think you asked, it is in the genes, so you just have to train them from young. Train them from young. Don't give them too much sweets. You let them know, right? That everything is in moderation, right? Children not too young to train when it comes to that. I mean, my kids will tell you, I tell them everything in moderation, so they will let you know that my mother will give me that, but they will eat it if somebody give it to them. But they know, so it's about educating them. It's about educating them from young. So you can prevent it. You can.
Okay, thanks. I'll give somebody else a chance to ask you a question.
No problem. Anybody else? Or women ask all the questions for you. Okay, guys. So I know okay, we passed the hour now. So thank you very much for joining in this afternoon. Next week, I know for sure we will be discussing diabetes, because World Diabetes Day is next Saturday. So on Sunday, we will be discussing diabetes. So hopefully I will see you all next Sunday at 6 p.m. Thank you again for joining in. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. Reach out to me via WhatsApp. So see you all next Sunday evening. Thank you very much for joining in. If we don't have any more questions, then that will be it for us this afternoon. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.